Hey, no, sorry. I don't know why sometimes Restream chat doesn't show me that there's somebody on, but then they're asking stuff, so yeah, I don't know. What is this? Oh, yeah, it's bad. Yeah, I got a band practicing in the background. We'll get there. Oh, cool. All right, let's go. Check, check, check. Let's make sure his audio's getting there. Looks good. All right, so I am watching, and this came from a post on the Gear Forum. This is ToneMaster Pro FM9 Turbo Helix Floor Adventures in Aliasing. And his description says, I was asked to run an aliasing test on the Fender ToneMaster Pro, and I added the Fractal FM9 and the Line 6 Helix for comparative purposes. The less aliening, the better. Which unit do you think came out on top? Do I need to give a primer on aliasing? I did a video a long time ago called Aliasing and DAW amp sims and compressors on my channel, on Pipeline Audio channel, and I show massive oversampling and still seeing latency and stuff. Or aliasing, sorry, not latency, aliasing. Aliasing happens. Let me see if I can get just a real quick. Hopefully you guys know how digital audio works, sampling and let's see, let's look at the images here on DuckDuckGo. So when you are sampling digital audio, you're taking a certain number of pictures of the sound. That's just a really bad analogy, maybe. Anything that goes above half of the number of pictures per second you're taking, which we call the Nyquist frequency, anything above that can't be captured accurately. And sometimes it comes back into the audible frequencies as the wrong frequency. So let me see if this is a good one. So they're saying, what is aliasing? False frequencies created by poor sampling of an input signal. That's kind of a hard, that's not good. Let's see. You end up with frequencies that aren't actually in the original image just because it can't accurately capture them. Here's a good one. If you're used to seeing the stair steps or the lollipop graphs or whatever, here's what the original frequency is, this really fast one right here. But because it's too fast for the number of samples taken, it ends up turning into this really weird wrong note that has nothing to do with the original musical signal. This happens a lot in nonlinear processes, so compressors, distortion, your guitar amps and stuff. So that's all aliasing is. Let's see how this actual video goes. You know what? Let me just show you real quick what aliasing kind of sounds like. Let me play my old video.
This is Pipeline Audio, and I want to talk a little bit about aliasing. And Robo, something that talking about aliasing and unison bend, but one of those kind of double stop bends and bending one string and not the other.
When I do the bend example, it might be intermodulation distortion. So let me get to where the sweeps are.
So let's be sure this is not just a problem with any single amplifier simulator. It seems to happen. I'll run it through some different amp sims.
Okay, here we go. You hear that weird sound of thing, wee like a UFO landing or something? That's your aliasing. So this is all correct until it gets too high frequency. Right here. So those weird, so this is a regular sweep. This is just a 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz sweep. Whoop, supposed to play everything that we can hear. When it starts getting up high, the amplifier, the distortion, is creating harmonics that are above the Nyquist frequency, and they're not getting filtered out correctly. Dan Lavery might say they can't be filtered out correctly. I wouldn't say can't, but.
And here's a compressor. So there's a lot of you out there probably saying, hey, that's what oversampling's for. So here's a compressor with oversampling on. Now I remember years ago Dan Lavery speaking about nonlinear operations and that compression, limiting, things like that generate lots of high frequency artifacts, and that you wouldn't really be able to get rid of them by anti-aliasing filtering because the damage was already done.
Sorry, I'm playing this old video because just in case you don't know what the aliasing is going to do or sound like.
And oversampling might not be the solution for this because you would need so many times oversampling you'd probably bring any computer to its knees. So here's another compressor. And I'm going to save the listener some tedium by starting a little bit higher up in the frequency range.
You see the frequency starting to go backwards? That's kind of what they call fold back in aliasing. So you're hearing the aliasing here.
So here's 2 times oversampling. Here's 4 times oversampling. And here's 64 times oversampling. One objection you might be thinking about is, well, hey, the guitars just don't go that high anyway. But let me play the original test file I used, and you can see its output on.
Okay, so anyway, so that's what aliasing is. All right, so let's go and see what we got here. And hope this isn't one of those channels where the guy just sits there and noodles around and it's just some excuse to watch the guy play guitar. Ugh, hate those ones.
Guys, thank you so much for watching and sending in your comments. I really do appreciate it. Here's another idea from the suggestion box, sent in to us from No Talk Guitar Amp Plugins Reviews. Would you run some sine sweeps in the ToneMaster Pro using a high gain preset? Would love to hear aliasing. Thanks for the suggestion, No Talk Guitar Amp Plugins Reviews. Since it's been a while since the last one, we'll do a little refresher on aliasing first,
Oh, good.
and then we'll run some tests.
Okay, maybe I didn't have to do all that.
So what exactly is aliasing? Well, here's just a small snippet from an article that Wikipedia has. In signal processing and related disciplines, aliasing is the overlapping of frequency components resulting from a sample rate below the Nyquist rate. And according to audiocheck.net, consider a digital audio system in a steadily rising sine wave tone. At lower frequency, the tone is sampled with many points per cycle. As the tone rises in frequency, the cycles get shorter and fewer points are available to describe it. At half the sampling rate, only 2 samples are available per cycle. We are at the limit stated by Nyquist. Still, those 2 samples are sufficient to reconstruct the original signal. If the tone keeps on rising, the number of points per cycle becomes inadequate to represent the signal. Those samples will be misinterpreted by the digital to analog converter and will be associated with a wrong frequency. This phenomenon is referred to as aliasing.
Before the pedants get in and start frying me or this guy, it's not necessarily that the digital to analog converter is going to get it wrong. It's already wrong on the way in.
Should we be concerned? Well, maybe. Here's a thread on the
Hey,
Gear
it's James
Forum
Freeman.
talking about modelers and aliasing. And it's also saying you can get this free signal generator plugin for your DAW at Plugins for free. And then the author says, real amps don't have aliasing. Modelers and plugins will exhibit various degrees of aliasing, and you will see, and that's referring to this plugin, and maybe hear frequencies inside the audible band. So the less aliasing there is, the closer the model is to a real amp. So you could also call this an accuracy test, right? Let's run.
Now hold on. So, there's different types of aliasing. The real amp. It's not right to say real amps don't have aliasing. Okay, this is hard to explain. A real amp is still going to generate those extra frequencies, those extra harmonics and stuff. Those harmonics get filtered out during the recording. I mean, assuming, because what matters is what you're going to hear out of a recording, right? In the end, I mean, maybe for live, but probably going through a digital console, same thing. Whatever aliasing frequencies the amplifier makes will be filtered out by the analog to digital converter's low pass filter. Like you might ask, if we only hear till 20 kilohertz, why isn't the sample rate normally 40 kilohertz instead of 44 kilohertz or 48 kilohertz? It's because we need to have this low pass filter to have a little bit of space to operate so that you can get rid of things that are above the Nyquist frequency. Let me see if I can find a picture of that. Sorry, I know we keep doing off on tangents, but sometimes they call them brick wall filters. Let's see. Okay, so I think this is going to be probably right. So filters, so here's your frequency versus level, right? So you're coming up to this really high frequency. So here's a really 3 decibel per octave. It's kind of a slopey filter. Look how steep some of these filters are. The steeper the filter you get, though, you have a little bit of rippling in the pass band. So let's say this is 20 kilohertz right here. This is the stop band you want, but you're going to have a little bit more space to have a smoother filter. Like, look at this purple one, okay? Now, it doesn't quite get all the way linear up to the stop band, or wherever the Nyquist frequency is. And but it happens pretty fast. So you look at how these different filters work. So you need a little bit of space and stuff. So anyway, this is what they're talking about. So if your guitar amp makes frequencies way out to here in the harmonics, they're already being filtered out by this low pass filter on the way into the analog to digital converter. That isn't the same thing that happens inside an amplifier simulator or a compressor, but we do have ways of dealing with that. So anyway, let me get back to this.
Run some tests using an aliasing test file that I downloaded from audiocheck.net. This will be the input, and I'm using the 48K version. After the 3 beep tones, a -3 dB FS sweeping sine tone from 24 kilohertz, which is half the sampling rate at 48 kilohertz, down to 1 kilohertz. As the test starts by playing frequencies that are probably beyond your audible range, you won't hear anything for a moment, except the 3 starting beep tones. When the frequency under test reaches your audible range, a high-pitched sine tone will be heard, steadily decreasing down to 1 kilohertz. Now, if you hear anything different, your sound system likely suffers from severe aliasing. In this test, aliasing will appear as frequencies increasing instead of decreasing.
Okay, so you remember when we were doing the opposite on my video. It was starting from a low frequency and going to a high frequency. And you started to hear the aliasing at first as a frequency going lower when it should have been going higher. In this case, because it's starting from high and going to low, you're going to hear frequencies go from lower to higher instead of higher to lower. So here we go.
Increasing. In order to run these tests, I had to configure each modeler to accept a digital file from my digital audio workstation. And for me, that's logic. Now that's an easy process, and I'll do a brief explanation of how to make it work with each modeler. If you look at my project layout in Logic Pro, you can see that the test file that was used as the input is track 1. The Tone Master Pro track is track 2, the FM9 track is track 3, and the Helix track is track 4. I wanted to include the ToneX pedal in this test, but it doesn't seem to be able to process audio coming from the computer using USB. Now it will accept a USB audio input because I can hear it playing the test file, but it won't process that test file and then send it back to Logic via USB. Oh well. I'm also using the Voxengo Span plugin once again, so we can get a visual representation of the aliasing artifacts.
And span is usually what you see on my stuff. And then thanks to James Freeman, who actually was mentioned in this video earlier. I don't know if you saw that. He got me going with Span Plus because I didn't really understand how to use that. So now thanks, Alexi. I haven't talked to Alexi in a long time from Voxengo, but Span Plus is awesome.
Okay, first I'll play a short demo of each preset. Now, I'll play the input file.
Just watch for harmonics. Ooh, God, that hurts. Ouch. Okay, so nothing's being done to that, right? So there's no... I probably would have set this a little bit different. The way you can set span in a lot of different ways. It may not be the best way to do this. But because there's no actual processing going on, this should just be a straight curve going down. We shouldn't see extra frequencies. But man, having this really long trailing edge is going to make this really hard to see. So, oops.
Now, I heard zero aliasing on my studio playback system, and the Span plugin showed nothing. Did you hear anything? Okay, let's start with the Tone Master Pro. First thing I have to do is go over here to USB and turn reamp mode to on. And then I choose preset 146, aliasing Uber. There's the Uber amp settings, and there's the Ownhammer Classic Rock Balanced IR.
I hope you're using the same impulse response on all 3 units here. Otherwise, you know, better yet, don't use the impulse response, and then you'll have a much higher... A speaker is a low-pass filter. I mean, these impulse responses are speaker captures, right? So those are going to be low-pass filters anyway. Yeah, you probably shouldn't have been using a speaker simulator at all.
Now we would go to Logic Pro and make the Tone Master Pro the output and input device, and hit apply. Now we would set the aliasing test file to output 3 and 4. Then we would set the Tone Master Pro track to input 1 and 2 and to stereo out. Now that's the default. Now at this point we would arm this track and press record. But I've already recorded it, but here I will play it for you.
So I already see these harmonics. So here's the fundamental, probably. There's some harmonic. There's the aliasing frequencies right there. Hitting minus 46. Oh, and some really nasty ones going to like minus... Oh, sorry, that's minus 60
okay, now let's
something.
do the
Okay.
FM9.
Okay,
You'd
let's
open
see.
FM9 Edit, then choose Setup. Click on Audio,
All right, well, that's
set
cool. He's showing you
input
how to
1
do this, but
to digital. And as you can see, it uses USB channels 5 and 6,
just play it.
the output device and the input device.
I'm
Now this-
assuming he did this right. Please tell me you use the same impulse. So wait a second. Let me go back. Sorry. There's this cab.
USB channels 5 and
It's
6
using the same
for the digital input source.
impulse.
Now we would go to Logic and make the
No.
FM9 the output device
Yes, we
and the
shouldn't
input
use the speaker
device.
at all,
Now
actually.
this time we would set the aliasing test file to an output of output 5 and 6. Stereo
Okay, let's
out,
play
again,
it.
which is default. And we would arm the FM9 track and
Okay, something already bad is going on. Why is this echoing? Hold on.
play for you.
Huh. Something's wrong. Okay, you hear that? You hear that aliasing? Winyo, 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 winyo. Like on my test. Here comes the fundamental. Let's see how high this goes. The other one reached pretty high up into the 50s, right? Yeah, about the same.
And now let's do the Helix. We would open HX input edit using USB 3 and 4.
Okay.
Now close audio devices. And we would arm the Helix track and press record.
So here's the Helix. Here we go. Here's the aliasing. So, you know, they all end up about the same, honestly.
All right, one more time.
It's so
from the
high
top.
up there, though.
Here's the test file.
I'm having a little bit of a problem. I don't understand how frequencies that high are getting through the speaker simulator. Shouldn't that IR be a low pass filter? I'm surprised. Maybe we'll run
Here's
some
the
tests.
Tone Master Pro.
Ooh.
Here's the FM9.
Why did we change the scale? So here's what we're looking for the Tone Master Pro. So minus 48. Actually, the initial aliasing is way worse on the Tone Master Pro than the FM9. But let's see where it goes after that. I think they're all about going to be about the same. No, actually,
And
that
here's
FM9
the
is
Helix.
better. Interesting. Listen to that. So the initial one's horrible on the Helix. But, you know, it's not, this isn't how you use it. So I don't know how much that matters. But let's see where it goes. So I'm going to keep moving the mouse to the minus 48 so we know where it is. It's a little lower on the Helix.
Okay,
than the
now if
Tone
you
Master
try
Pro.
this test,
Now, wait a
please
second, though.
remember to change
What's
your
the
settings
peak? Let's look at the peak again. Here's Tone Master Pro. Let's look at where the highest this ever goes is for the fundamental. Okay, so fundamental is
Here's
somewhere
the
up here, like
FM9.
minus 32 or so. Let's see how high the fractal goes. These guys might not be really well volume matched. That might be one of the problems. Fractal signal is so much quieter. No. Well, it is, though. The fractal signal's a
and
lot
here's
quieter.
the Helix.
Where's the Helix? So here's where its peak should be, around here, minus 32 or 34 or something. Right, so Helix is closer than the FM9.
Okay, now
I
if you
don't
try
know-
this
I don't know if
test,
this test was done all that
please
well.
remember to change your settings back on your modeler. Otherwise, you might be wondering, why isn't this thing working? So there you have it, guys. The ToneMaster Pro had the least amount of aliasing, and the Helix Floor had the most. And the FM9 was right there with the Helix, maybe just a little bit better. Like I said when I did a similar test for the 3 fractal modelers, I don't really think this is a cause for concern. I just think it's just another chunk of data for those folks that like
I
a
don't
certain
understand how
chunk
the
of...
aliasing is getting through the speaker simulator. You'd think that would be a much better low-pass filter, but maybe not.
data. However, as I said earlier, the less aliasing, the closer you are to a real amp. Now take that with as many grains of salt as you want. Now this Friday is going to be Helix for Noobs Part 3. We're going to take a look at Helix Native and see if it's something that you should have since it's on sale right now. Now, you do
Yes, the
not
answer is
want to
yes.
miss that, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. All right, guys, have a great week, and I'll talk to you again on Friday.
Let's see what the comments have to say here. ToneMaster Pro has the largest aliasing artifacts on this test, though it does appear that you may be running it with more gain on the virtual amp. Yeah, see, that's these levels weren't really matched. Compare the level of harmonics on the frequency chart. Helix has an impressive showing considering it has the oldest technology of the 3. I also think the test file could be made more realistic. Majority of sweep is in frequencies which are nearly absent in an actual electric guitar DI, and it runs the frequencies that are actually relevant in just 1 to 2 seconds. Yes, that's important. What does he say for that? I used the test and test file that was suggested to me by whatever from, it's actually, I think it's from James Freeman. If the tone keeps on rising, the number of points per cycle becomes inadequate. Oh, okay, wait a second. ToneMaster Pro clearly had the most audible aliasing. I'm not sure why you would think otherwise. What does he say back? TMP True Peak minus 13.9 FM. So the Helix is loudest at peak. That's not the aliasing though, is it? That was the fundamental. Okay, so he says, hold on, do you think that the level meter of the Vox angle span displays the amount of aliasing? Somebody else says, I usually enjoy your videos, but you've messed this one up good. Those are the levels for the fundamental, not the aliasing. Can you hear the loud aliasing of the ToneMaster? No, in my studio, using these fancy monitors, the Helix is the worst. So he says, the fundamental on the ToneMaster Pro is the most quiet, but the aliasing is louder, much louder. You're listening to the wrong thing. That's what everyone is trying to explain to you. Okay, so here you go. I'm not listening to the fundamental. I'm listening to the aliasing. I've been dealing with aliasing and synths since the mid-'80s, so I at least have a little clues onto what I'm doing. And what is everyone listening on? Oh, man, what fallacy is that, right? You don't have my fancy monitor, so you can't hear this. Somebody says, you obviously don't understand what aliasing. The ToneMaster Pro was by far the worst. Okay. All right, let's play with this for a second. Let me pull up Reaper. I'm kind of tripping out that there even was aliasing in let's go. Here's Vox Angle Span Plus. I'm gonna put MDA test tone plugin in here. And let's go do a sweep. Oh, it's gonna be so annoying. Sorry, hold on. Let's skip this for a second. Let's do a log sweep. So start at like 2K, and we'll go up. We'll go up to 20K. How about that? And let me. Okay, so there's that. There's nothing happening here. Do you see the ripple? Let me see if I can change something here. When does it die? Can I change it here? Yeah, I'm so bad at this. Okay. So let's start adding something. Let's do the and I'm not gonna put a filter at first. Okay, let me get to a okay, here we go. So here's Helix with nothing on it. Let's put an amp on here. Let's do something well, they had the Uber shawl, whatever. So let me get that. I think I have. Yeah, here we go. So let's hear. Now we're gonna see some aliasing. See, there's the harmonics. All right, I'm not getting any aliasing. Why is that? Let me make this. I know this is annoying, but I'm gonna make this louder. Let's turn up the drive. Maybe that'll add some more aliasing. You know, bring the channel volume up. Yeah, I'm not getting any aliasing that we can actually see. What the? Okay, I really think I should be hearing more aliasing here. What's going on? Am I doing something wrong? I'm seeing the harmonics. Let's I'm gonna change the noise floor to lower, range low, go all the way to 180. Okay, so here we got. Let's see if we get something. We can start seeing stuff in the passband. So here's all the harmonics. Now we should start seeing it going backwards. That might be some rippling there from that. I don't know. I'm not seeing the aliasing I expect to see. Hold on. Yeah. Let me do something that I know will alias. Make sure I'm not doing something crazy wrong. There we go. See the aliasing? Watch this. It's rising. Here's your harmonic from the limiter. That's going to start going backwards. Right there. There's your aliasing. Okay. So that's where we should be seeing this. So here, let me put Helix back on. You see a little bit there. I think we're seeing aliasing here. That's way down there, though. Is it reaching down here? Maybe. Let's add to the non-linearities here. Okay, so let's get one of these distortion things. What's the most distorty distortion? The Swedish chainsaw, is that the right one? Oh, there we go. There, you hear it? There we go. Okay, but I'll put a high and low cut. All right, no, let me put the parametric on because I think it has a low pass filter. I put it at a guitar level and see if it gets through there. It's still getting through. Interesting. You see it just going crazy now, right? Wow. Now let's do something more like a guitar. Wow. Pretty nuts, right? I wonder how distorted this is if we were to put a guitar signal through here, though. This may not be realistic, but hey, people are crazy. So that's interesting. Okay. Let me put an IR on here. Yeah, I mean, the Aliasing's there. I don't think the guy did the test right, but, you know, we are seeing it. And we're definitely hearing it, right? Pretty interesting stuff. I mean, like, this is, I know this is so nerdy, man, but this is what we do, right? All right, I'm procrastinating because I'm supposed to be testing some new Mac builds in Pro Tools, so let me go do that. I'll see you guys later.